Right, can you guys see it? Yeah, there's chat. Guys, what's the current time? 4. I don't know why he's asking me that, but yeah. Oh, people are on. You better now. Right. Who's Loafer? Wait, guys, can you hear me? One sec. Okay, now can you hear me? Okay, that's good then. I don't have a camera. Right, who's ready to play the Stanley Parable? What's up, guys? I'm back today to play, and I'm back. How are we all doing? Alright, let's jump in. Boys, you will be on YouTube and all that. Alright.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Now don't mute up.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard.
Go on, who's ready, guys?
Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons
I don't
to
have
push,
one.
how long to push
I do not have a camera.
and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although
Do you guys know
others
this
might
game?
have
Who
considered
knows
it
this game in the chat?
Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly
Yeah, I
for
can.
his job. Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would
Loafer,
forever
you have. Good
change
job.
Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened. This complete
What is this?
isolation.
Go on,
Something
guys.
was very clearly wrong.
Let's do this.
Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time.
30
But as he
cards.
came to his wits and
what?
regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Oh, we're playing. Let's see what's this going to be. Wait,
All
where are
of
we
his
going?
co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
What could it
Stanley
mean?
decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
In here. Alright, let's go around and see what's going on. Ooh.
Yeah, I'm gonna do my masterwork to you.
Alright.
I'm gonna watch this and enjoy it.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Oh, what do you think? Yeah, I'm wondering that too. Ooh. What was that? Who saw that? Who saw that?
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Yeah, that's not creepy.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Oh, the closet. That's where my moon came from.
Thanks. Oh, he's going to the
Stepping into
dishwasher?
his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from
Minibot.
him?
I will not say
What
it.
he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number. 2845.
I can't.
But of course,
I can.
Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Can you not spell house of
Hide within it. What broom closet? I can't get out of the room.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
2, 3, 4, 5, 2. Ready? 2, 3.
2845.
Oh, 2, 8.
Considering you're pretty good at counting. How do I get onto the
2, 8, 3.
Forgot, but it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door just opened all by itself.
Oh, thanks,
and Stanley
guys.
got the hell along with the story. Well, whoop-de-doo.
I've played these games before as a mentor. Right, guys, make up the decision. Should I go in there? Should I go in there?
moon, you idiot. I hope you know me and you have to go out for food and you got all
Thank you.
Moon. How? You literally told you it and you still got it wrong.
Yeah, I don't know how really, but it's quite interesting.
I love the chat in the right.
Descending
quite
deeper into
interesting,
the
isn't it?
building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to
He has a
question the nature
mentor,
of
am I?
his job. Why did he feel this now?
Right.
When for years it had never occurred to him. This question
Alright,
would
can we
not
get out,
go
please?
unanswered for long.
Come on. That actually scared me, I'm not even gonna lie.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Yes, you are mute, mate.
There's lag between the call and the
Escape. Yeah, bet.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Guys, should we go to my violent to death?
Right, I'm gonna leave the call and just keep watching it so I don't have to deal with lag.
Chat, should I go through? Jack, should I go with it? Should I go through? I see Minibot says yes. You know what? We're
The
going.
door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At
You know what,
this
Minibot,
point,
if I
Stanley
die,
was making a conscious,
your fault.
concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Oh yeah, thanks guys. Oh, that's not good.
Matthew.
I died. Well, can't help it.
As the machine whirred into motion, and
alright,
Stanley
chat,
was
what should I
inched
do?
closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss,
Oh, that's not
like
good.
plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life.
Well, we're dead.
Farewell, Stanley.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated, as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Oh wait, no way we
And yet
finished
it
that
would
in
be
the game
just
quick.
a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever.
Oh
What
yeah,
exactly
thanks guys.
did the narrator
Thank you.
think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same.
What does it
Do you
say?
see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
What door should I go through? Let's try this one. Aww. Right, you know what? Let's go through here. What was that? Jack, where should I go?
Stanley pushed the orange lever.
Oh my days. Remember, this will go all the way. Wait, touch the circle. Oh my, oh my. Chat, where should we go? Oh, exit.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
Guys, should we click on or off? Was already on. You know what? Let's. Oh,
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen
Oh, not
to me.
this again.
You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Turn off your PlayStation. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let...
Okay. The end is never.
Mamoon, will you put me up to the mic so I can speak to your fans?
Yeah, I can. Speak.
Hello, Mamoon's fans. Thank you, guys. You are the real ones. Big love to you all. Mamoon is my husband.
What?
If they don't know that, he's gonna do something.
Alright, guys. Alright, I'm back here. Let's see what's gonna happen again.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Okay, so let's not try to kill ourselves again.
Mamoon, why are we not allowed to stay on YouTube?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Right, let's listen to the narrator for once.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Oh, that's nice.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished. His boss would think he was crazy.
My.
And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason
I'm
at
doing
all.
a loop.
None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did
can't I not see
doors
my
close
feet?
automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream.
The narrator
What a
voice.
relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So
What is
he
happening?
imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined
Why am I
himself
floating?
soaring through space on a magical starfield. And
What was I
it too
flying? Wait,
appeared
what's happening?
It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking?
Why
Now
is
the
there?
voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley,
What is
who
happening?
found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd, and wondered
is
if
very
this
odd.
voice
What is
spoke
actually
to all
happening
people
now?
in their dreams,
I'll
the truth
be
was that,
going
of course,
floating, and
this
then
was
next
not
thing
a
you know,
dream.
I've been
How could it
doing
be?
some backflips.
Was Stanley simply deceiving
I
himself?
don't know why.
Believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is
I
as
did just
awake
walk into
right
a cupboard,
now
yes.
as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the
If I
voice
try to-
not see him
Aw.
float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control.
What
that
is
this
happening
was a
now?
dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up.
What
He
is that?
felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of
Still
the mattress
walking,
on his
and
back,
I'm generally off the
the
controller.
fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my
Mummy,
life exactly
what is
the way
happening?
it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine.
I'm actually worried. What's gonna happen now?
I am okay.
It's gonna be a jump scare. No. Yeah, the door does it.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just
Oh, what
someone
is
tell
happening?
me I am real. I must be real. I must be.
Oh, what's
Can
happening?
anyone
What's
hear
happening?
my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
What just happened?
This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose,
I
got
swear-
dressed, gathered her belongings, and
Oh
walked to
my-
her place of work.
Oh,
But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy, this much she knew. Everyone
is
knows
happening?
what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am
to be
sane.
normal's
I
mental.
am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way,
Oh my.
seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day.
I mean,
The
see this
very
man
important
dead on the
people
floor
whose
makes her feel
impressions
better.
of
Can we
her
just
would affect her
rewind
career,
quickly?
and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the
You
body,
don't want to call the
and then
ambulance.
she turned and ran.
Why did you run? You were right in the head. Well, we died for the second time. Let's go. Come on, chap. We're just that good. We keep dying. We're just too good at dying. I swear half of this is just a loop. Right, let's go. Right, let's
All
actually
his
let's actually
coworkers
try.
were gone. What could it
Come
mean?
on, come on.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came
Right,
to
let's
a
go
set
to the
of
right.
two opened, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
Go
Perhaps
on.
he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow, yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first
No,
open
we're
door
not
on
going
his
there.
left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Okay, what's this, chat? Right, let's see what's gonna happen.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I
You're gonna kill
realize that
me most of
investing
the
your
time.
trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about.
What, you?
Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
Huh?
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life.
Who's
She's
her?
been waiting.
What is that?
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one
Oh
to do
my days,
this.
boy, that's giving
To
it.
reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
I picked up the phone. The phone has been picked up. Let's see what's gonna happen.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your
No.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here. This
That's
is a
not
very
creepy.
sad story about the death of a man named Stanley. Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
What is happening?
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life. But in his mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic
go now.
adventures. From behind his desk,
go now.
Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the
go now.
unknown. Fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was
Let me
wonderful.
go.
And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him. And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly. So,
With the
he went
boys, let's
further.
go, guys.
He
We're
imagined
gonna
that
go
he
out
came
with
to
the
two
boys.
open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy
Okay.
world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head,
Let me
he
out.
relived it again, and
Let
then
me
again,
out.
and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer.
Okay.
How could there possibly be?
That's not
In
nice.
reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Wait, chat, should I click it? Should I click it, chat? Chat, should I click that button?
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what
Not
I
really,
see?
am I?
How can I make him look at himself?
Let me out.
I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled.
Let me out.
I must.
Let me
Perhaps-
out,
well,
please.
maybe this time he'll see.
Please.
Maybe this time.
I don't get jumped.
And I tried again, and Stanley pushed
I don't
a
wanna-
button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
Oh my. How do we manage it 3 times in a row? Chat, how do we beat this game without dying every second? How do we how do we not die? Right, we're back here at
All
the
of his
start.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Right, you know what? Let's do it the way that
When
the
Stanley
game
came
says.
to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Right. This time
Yet
we will
there
not
was not
die.
a single person here
For
either.
speed run.
Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Oh, there's a bathroom. What is this? Mirror's a bit dirty. Alright, I think the boss has had a bit of an emotional time. Is that a panda shooting itself? No. Oh. Wait, chat, should we go in this elevator? Let's do this. Up we go. I love the beat. This is a good beat. Banging music. Absolutely love it. Right, when is this actually gonna end? Okay, can we go out now? Alright, we're here. We're here, chap. At the exact same place we were before.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once
That was the
again
music.
stunned to
Can you guys
discover
agree?
not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
As if he never told me. Oh, yeah, can we go down? Is there any elevator music? There's no elevator music. That's disappointing. That is disappointing.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door
Escape?
that read
No.
Mind Control Facility.
Sure. Hello, camera. How you doing? Ooh, button.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens.
Oh, what have I done now?
What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself.
What do I do now?
Did he have the strength to find out?
I'll say yes. But what did I do? What did I do?
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Says it's you, basement.
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable.
Why did I get into this?
Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
Oh, it's dark.
But here was the proof.
Ooh.
The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating,
you know
working,
what? I'm gonna just keep
all of it monitored and commanded from this very place.
All offline.
And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Oh, well, chat, guess what I'm gonna do now? I will control everything.
Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control?
No, off. Sorry.
Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go. Turn the controls off and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system.
No. Detonation?
If the machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex.
Not this again.
Hold on until detonation.
Let me out.
Let's say
No.
2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's
No, I'm
your
sorry,
time
I'm sorry.
to
No,
shine.
no, not this
You
now.
are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious
Oh, not
moment
this
each one of them
again.
is. More time
Right,
to
this
talk
is
about
literally
you,
the 5th time
about
I've died.
me, where we're going.
Off.
What all this means. I
No.
barely know where to start.
How do we click it? How do we get...
What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated.
Kind of.
All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though. This version
I know
of
what to
events
do.
has been rather amusing.
Come on, let's
Watching
cook, let's
you
cook,
try to
guys.
make sense of everything,
click
take
everything.
back the control wrested away from
We
you.
got a fire
It's
button, we have to click it.
rich.
Come on, go,
I almost
go.
hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this
There's
so
a button there.
much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees.
Come on.
Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off?
Yeah, I know there
Look
is.
at you,
Come on, guys.
running from button
Let's
to
go, let's go.
button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones, or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is?
I'll click them
Stanley,
all.
You're in for quite a disappointment. But here's
Chat,
a
what should I
spoiler
do?
for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here.
What?
Just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully?
Please,
Other
please.
choice. Make it count, or don't.
Oh,
It's
not
all
this
the same
now.
to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say happily ever up.
Oh, we could have got through the door. Oh my. Well, for the 5th time today, we died. Yeah, well. Right. One more time,
I
come
can't
on.
wait to tell this story to my co-workers, Stanley thought. How amusing they'll find it. Oh, won't we all just laugh and laugh at the time I thought everyone had gone missing.
Hold up, we got another
When
way.
Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Okay.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley
Wait, at the
decided
beginning
to
it
go up
changed.
to his
Who was that
bosses
as well?
and coming to a
Chat.
staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his
Everybody
boss's
that
office.
doesn't believe me and all.
The moment he entered his manager's office, Stanley froze in his tracks. Not a living soul anywhere. Could he really be all alone? Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator
Oh,
talk.
not dead again.
That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music.
Oh. Not this again.
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Come on, let's go. Come on, this is how good we are. Well, we're gonna cook now. We're gonna do well. Come on. What should we do best? Right, number
Stanley
one,
walked
do not
straight
die.
ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself.
Alright, come on.
Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors
Which, should we
jumped to
go
life,
through it
their
again?
true nature revealed. Each
Should we
bore
go
the
through
number
the
of an
nuclear
employee
scene
in the
or
building.
no?
Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them,
Chat, should we
eternally
do the
monitored
nuclear
in
one
this
again?
place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe
Come on,
it.
let's go.
He couldn't
Superman.
accept it. His own life in
Superman.
someone else's control?
Superman.
Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't
We
it?
can cook now. We
Was
can
it
do
even
it.
possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
Alright, you tell me, fam. I can't see.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his
Wait, chat,
past
should I click
began
on?
to
Should
sink
I click
in,
on?
Stanley decided that this machinery
Yes
would
or no?
never
Quick.
again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Off. Let's do this. What's happened?
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes.
Come on, chat, let's do this.
He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand.
No
But to
way
let go.
we beat this game.
No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do.
Come on,
or how
chat.
to feel.
After dying
Whatever life
6,000
he
times,
lives,
we finally
it will
do
be
it.
his.
Never before I've
And that
died
was
so
all he
quickly.
needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
I feel like something's about to happen. No, I actually beated the game. How? Right, I'll be in within an hour. Wait, chat. Should we do it? And this time we go through every possible scenario. Like, we go through the nuclear thing again. Okay, chat, let's go through the nuclear thing again. We beat the
All
game,
of his
but now let's do
co-workers
this
were
now.
gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had
Oh,
simply
one
missed a
more
memo.
ways. Come on, let's do this. New content. Ooh. Wait, chat, should we do the nuclear or go through here? Let's go through here, yeah?
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Oh. We're about at night. Okay, come on, let's beat this now. Let's beat it for the second time, let's cook. Watch me die within seconds.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content. Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
Him saying mesmerizing always puts a good mind.
Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... oh, here we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it. I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
Oh, narrator really wants it now.
All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
Yeah, we're jumping. We're jumping. We're jumping, guys. We're jumping. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. This is mental. What's the point of this? Oh, now we're gonna get killed.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right? Goodness. Another elevator.
Oh, let's see this
Stanley,
one now.
I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's
I
just
agree.
elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is
About
new content,
it.
then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh, wait. There's more. Very good.
Right,
Yes.
stop whining.
I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is. That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level
Right.
of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's trophies, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test trophy, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It
Zai-
could never have lived up to such expectations. if you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks, just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Is that it? What on earth just happened? What is happening? Hold up.
Psst! Stanley! Come over here! In the vent! I want to show you something!
Okay, this is weird. What is happening now?
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past, and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special, and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it.
Okay.
Just our little secret. Take a
That's...
look. I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC. You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap PlayStation port? Remember back in October of 2013? When the game
Okay,
originally
what's
launched?
happening now?
Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste. And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator
Oh,
content.
yeah, scared me then. So we can't go through there. Okay, that's a bit creepy.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games, and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. All they had to do was transport it in pristine condition along to the PlayStation, boom, done. And they couldn't even do that. Couldn't resist the urge to go meddling with a beloved franchise. These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back to have it
What
all
is
over
happening
again.
now?
Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the Memory Zone before. What's this? What's down here?
What did we...
Oh no, oh God, no, Stanley. It's a collection of reviews from Pressurized Gas, the extremely popular online storefront for computer games. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's being
What is
collecting down
happening
here.
now?
Surely these reviews were glowing
Right.
as well.
Oh,
weren't
I've just
they?
been hit by a door. Not
Honestly,
recommended.
I could not be bothered to play this
Mental.
game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny!
That's
Trying to
mental.
be funny.
Oh,
I'm trying
yeah,
to make a
let me
serious
get
work
crushed
out.
by a picture frame,
I
shall
suppose I
I?
can write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the
Damn,
game is
Russian
already such
gas
a
is
densely
mental.
layered web of profound
They're going after him.
philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
They're going after the narrator. I like this guy. That's
Okay,
even
let's
worse.
see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley?
This is-
I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can.
You
Good
are.
goodness. This is actually
Chad,
quite
do we
shocking
agree he's a
for
bit
me.
preachy?
Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did, but maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel
Okay.
like a failure.
This
Like I let
is,
these people down.
In other words,
Perhaps the Stanley
interesting.
Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered. What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button.
That's crazy.
A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my
Okay.
motto today, and it's always been my motto.
Oh,
I'd
don't
do
kill me
anything
now.
for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have. And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button,
Wait,
you'll have zipped
Chad,
that
should I
bastard.
click
It's what
it?
the
Shall I
players
click
have
it?
been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No, 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 no. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people, and if the people want silence...
You know what, shut up.
Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise.
You know, I'm clicking again.
Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to... Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? It's not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble. Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours.
Who's
You've just
been
frozen there.
frozen for
I don't
12
know why the
hours?
skips are getting longer, but they're really,
12?
truly getting longer. And my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone. I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those walls 1,000 times, and there's no...
Right, guys, unfortunately we have to end this, and hopefully I see you guys soon. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Goodbye.